my bed, you woke up and you said, well, I wasn't expecting that. I thought love wasn't meant to last. I thought you were just passing through. If I ever get the nerve to ask, what did I get right to deserve somebody like you? I wasn't expecting that. It was only a word, it was almost misheard. I wasn't expecting that. But it came without fear. A month turned into a year. I wasn't expecting that. I thought love wasn't meant to last. Honey, I thought you were just passing through. If I ever get the nerve to ask, what did I get right to deserve somebody like you? I wasn't expecting that. Oh, isn't it strange how life can be changed in the flicker of the sweetest smile? We were married in spring, you know I wouldn't change a thing without that innocent kiss. What a life I'd missed if you not took a chance on a little romance when I wasn't expecting that. Time doesn't take long, 3 kids up and gone. I wasn't expecting that. And the nurses they came, said it's come back again. I wasn't expecting that. Then you closed your eyes. You took
Please welcome Miami Mayor and the President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Francis Suarez.
We still haven't gotten the Cuban coffee stations going. Good morning, good morning. This is my 4th meeting, and I remember Tom telling me that when my predecessor resigned early, that I was going to have the 3rd longest tenure in the U.S. Conference of Mayors history. So I'm kind of the Alec Trebek of Conference of Mayors meetings. So I hope you guys aren't tired of me yet, but I want to take a minute to just welcome all of you to this 91st annual meeting of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. How beautiful is this incredible stage, this incredible hotel, which is brand new and so phenomenal, and this incredible city. Last night I unfortunately watched the Miami Heat championship game and was a little disappointed in the outcome, but very much enjoyed the city. And we're thrilled to have all of you join us here today. Tomorrow we're going to have our official opening ceremony. We're going to be welcoming our host mayor, second vice president, Mayor Andy Ginther. So please join me in thanking Mayor Ginther and the host committee for arranging what I know will be a fantastic meeting that highlights the very best of Columbus and our country. Now I'd like to take a minute to invite Care Solis' Chief Growth Officer to the podium. Care Solis is a mission-driven mental health care coordination company. You're going to see mental health is a big part of what we're going to be talking about today and over the course of this weekend. They currently serve over 5 million individuals over 32 states. Care Solis' mission is to improve equitable access to care by quickly connecting people and treatment to and matching them to their unique needs. So please help me in welcoming Anita Ward to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor Suarez. Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here, and I just want to echo Mayor Suarez's sentiments. This is going to be a great conference. Welcome to the 91st meeting. And I want to start the day with a challenge. More than 60 million Americans are living with mental illness. Sadly, young adults between the ages of 13 and 18 have the highest prevalence. It is 49.5%. For many reasons, less than half of those receive treatment. Mental health issues are often at the root of homelessness, incarceration, and even school dropout rates. I personally experienced this. As a child, my family was homeless. My parents suffered from mental illness and alcohol abuse. At one point, we even lived in a U-Haul at a Las Vegas rest stop. I could have been a statistic, but instead I'm here today. And I'm here to tell you that the system is broken. Jails and hospitals are the default destinations for those with mental health disorders. But it should be simple to access mental health care, as easy as booking a reservation on OpenTable or a car using Uber. And at Care Solace, that's what we do. We are the OpenTable for mental health. For more than 15 million people, we act as a central hub of care, as a critical liaison between first responders and justice systems and social services and agencies and our 350,000 mental health providers. Through Care Solace, any resident can access services even if they don't have insurance. But I'm here today because we need your help and we need your leadership. The only way to deal with these issues and to save our kids and their families is for us to partner. We work with mayors and city managers and police chiefs to facilitate access and to build resilience in our communities. Mental health is the challenge of our time. It's a basic human need and a basic human right, and I'd like to work together this weekend to see if we can change the outcomes. So thank you for hearing the challenge. We must get this right. Have a great conference. I look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita, and I look forward to collaborating with you on some of those mental health statistics. We're going to be talking a lot about mental health today, and we're going to have a great panel at noon, so please, for lunch, come back and sit and listen to that panel. It's going to be amazing. Our next speaker currently serves as a commanding general of the United States Marine Corps Recruiting Command. Throughout his career, he served in every Marine Expeditionary Force, in every element of the Marine Air Ground Task Force across our joint force infrastructure. He knows the meaning of Semper Fidelis, always faithful. He's a highly decorated Major General and the recipient of numerous awards that time will not, unfortunately, permit me to mention all. But most importantly, he's a Marine. He's here this morning to speak to us about the National Call to Service program. Please join me in extending a warm Marine welcome and Maine welcome to Major General William J. Bowers.
Well, good morning, mayors, fellow government officials. It's such an honor to be here with you all at the 91st annual meeting for the Conference of Mayors. And it's really special to be able to speak with all of you who are on the front lines in the never-ending battle to make our people's lives better. You know, on my way to Columbus, I reread parts of Ambassador Emanuel's excellent book, The Nation's City, that talks about the powers of mayors. And the subtitle really says it all. Mayors are now running the world. And as Ambassador Emanuel writes in the book, there's no more important position today in U.S. politics than that of mayors who solve problems every day for real people. And this is why I'm so honored to be able to speak with you all this morning. Because today, in the American military, in the year of the 50th anniversary of our all-volunteer force, there's arguably no more important position in the military today than that of our military recruiters. Like all of you, they're out there on the front lines, in your cities, on the streets, in our schools, time now, doing their very best to attract and inspire young men and women of character to serve our country by joining our ranks. And they've never faced a more challenging environment in the history of the all-volunteer force. And this is exactly where and how each of you can help us and help them in shaping this environment to enable our military recruiters to be successful. Our military recruiters need to be able to communicate with our high school students on the benefits and timeless values they'll learn by serving our country in the military. Our communities need to see how much our veterans are valued as citizens and how much they contribute to our society. And our active duty service members, especially our recruiters, need to feel the full weight and support of our communities as they get out there and attract and inspire young men and women of character to serve. Our recruiting mission will not get any easier in the months and years ahead, but each of you can help make that mission more achievable for us by calling on others to serve and inspiring and setting an example. And in a way, this is fitting for us as the challenge of recruiting goes back to the very founding of our great country. Now, many of us have learned that the founding of our country was on July 4th, 1776, when the Declaration of Independence was signed. We also learned how the Constitution was written in 1787, then subsequently ratified and implemented in 1789. Not as many of us know what happened on 31 December 1776, when General George Washington addressed his Continental Army on the last day of their enlistments. But as David McCullough recounts in his excellent book, 1776, Washington addressed his army after launching the daring raid on the Hessian garrison at Trenton on Christmas Day, and then he pursued the British and the Hessians to Princeton and drove the Redcoats from the field at the Battle of Princeton. Yet on 31 December, the enlistments of that army were about to expire. And Congress at the time was bickering among themselves and had given Washington no authority. Without any authority whatsoever, Washington assembled his army and offered them a $10 bounty if they would volunteer to serve for another 6 months. The drums rolled and then stopped, and not a man stepped forward. Because you see, the tangible benefits alone worked then about as well as they do now, which is not very well. It's always about something more, serving a cause larger than yourself. It was then that Washington wheeled on his horse and said, "My brave fellows, you have done all I have asked you to do, and more than can reasonably be expected. But your country is at stake, your wives, your houses, and all that you hold dear. You have worn yourselves out with fatigue and hardships, but we know not how to spare you. But if you will consent to stay 1 month longer, you will render that service to the cause of liberty and to your country, which you can probably never do under any other circumstance." And then the drums rolled and stopped, and this time, one man stepped forward, and then another, and then another, and then another. And indeed, the Continental Army, the cause for which it fought, and the country its timeless efforts engendered were saved. Thank you all for stepping forward and for inspiring other young men and women of character to serve. Your leadership does make a difference. Semper Fidelis.
Thank you so much for joining us, General Bowers, and I just downloaded the book. Highly recommended. I'm not here to sell books, but not yet at least. And thank you for the service, for your service to our country. You know, mass violence continues to be a tragic and serious problem, plaguing cities large and small across our great country. It manifests itself in highly visible acts in which innocent children and adults are killed, and in crime that occurs on a regular basis on the streets of many of our cities. It's important that as we start this annual meeting, we acknowledge the serious toll that mass violence is taking in our communities and what we are doing in our cities and through this conference to reduce mass violent events and loss of life. Here now is Mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, and the chair of our Criminal and Social Justice Committee, who has been an outstanding leader and is an outstanding leader on this issue, on all issues in our organization. Please welcome Mayor Quentin Lucas.
Thank you, President Suarez. Good morning, and it is an honor to be with all of you, an honor to be here in Columbus, Ohio today. Each of us as mayors, each of us as policy leaders and thinkers has a grave concern every time we hear about a mass shooting in the news, and that is, please God, don't let it be our community. After every weekend in our cities, we have concerns as we hear from our police departments. How many people were shot? How many people died? Every year since 2015, we wear orange on National Gun Violence Awareness Day to honor the dozens of lives taken every day in our country. And by the way, the dozens of lives taken every day due to gun violence, and to elevate the voices of those demanding an end to gun violence. We wear orange to call for a future free of gun violence in our communities, which have been shattered by this epidemic for too long. Orange symbolizes the value of each person's life, and we wear it to honor those killed, wounded, or the many, many more who were affected by gun violence in their family, at their schools, or in their communities. Since last weekend, my city of Kansas City, which is a city not too much unlike this one, has experienced more than 13 gun-related homicides. We must never accept this status quo. We all recognize, and many of us have been mayors now for several years, we recognize this moment of crisis, and we've had a number of them. But this crisis persists. Everyone in every one of our communities deserves to be safe, healthy, and happy in their community, and not have to fear the possibility of getting shot at their school, in their grocery store, going on a run, going to a parade, or as recently in my city, being a teenager who rings the wrong doorbell. We will not give up on making our communities safer, and we will continue to address and fight this epidemic each and every day. If you're not already wearing orange today, and I understand it may be not a natural part of your wardrobe, we encourage you to pick up an orange ribbon or a lapel pin and to talk to Mayors Against Illegal Guns, which I'm proud to co-chair. Please come by the Mayors Against Illegal Guns booth to pick up an orange ribbon and pin, as well as more information on gun awareness, gun safety, and Gun Violence Awareness Day. Wear Orange has support from coalition partners, cultural influencers, sports teams, faith leaders, mayors, public safety officials, police chiefs, survivors, students, teachers, advocates, and parents in every city, on every side of the aisle, across our country. In many cities, including my own, we will light landmarks orange in support of National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And why do we talk about it this year? We recognize, despite the challenges, the upheaval of recent years, gun violence remains persistent and remains in many places an increasing challenge. 2023 is on track right now to have more mass shootings in the United States than in any previous year. While mass shootings garner more public attention, they only count for a small percentage of gun deaths. The CDC reports that in 2021, the most recent year for which complete data is available, 48,830 people died from gun-related injuries. 48,000 plus people died from gun-related injuries. 54% of those were suicides, 43% were murders, many of which occurred on the streets of our cities. And tragically and shamefully, since 2020, guns have been the leading cause of death for our children and teens, accounting for 19% of all childhood deaths. It is urgent, my friends, that we act now to reduce the scourge of gun violence. And we all recognize that America's mayors are on the front lines, fighting every day to end the bloodshed on our streets and to keep people alive. And I'll finish with this. Many of us are mayors or leaders in states where sometimes the statewide politics can be inhospitable to talking about ways to prevent gun violence. Don't let that stop you, because I truly believe that this is a nonpartisan issue. Because I often will talk to leaders in my state capital or in Washington and say this very simple question. I don't want my child to be gunned down in a school any more than you want your child, your grandchild, your cousin, or your friend. Let's agree to find a way to stop that challenge for all of us. I thank you all as leaders in this country for being ones who are true problem solvers, and I believe we can make a tremendous difference. God bless you all, and have a wonderful conference.
Thank you, Mayor Lucas, for your work on this so important issue. He's such a great leader, isn't he, guys? Yeah. Kansas City is very lucky to have him. And now I'm pleased to welcome to the stage for the first time today, but surely not the last, our fabulous host and mayor of Columbus. Our host mayor will be joined by the president of Nationwide Retirement Solutions, which is a program many of our cities, including Miami, have adopted to help employees plan for and live in retirement. Nationwide is the longest tenured U.S. Conference of Mayors Platinum Partner, working together with us for nearly 40 years. Guys, I'm 45, okay? Just to put it in context. And they have just renewed their partnership for another 5 years. They're trying to get beyond my age. The next discussion will be about more than just retirement. Our panelists will highlight the public-private partnership between Mayor Ginther's beautiful city and the Nationwide enterprise, a partnership that has enabled Columbus to thrive. They will share how they've worked together to ensure ongoing development and growth to create and sustain a high quality of life for its citizens. Please join me in welcoming our host, Second Vice President, the Mayor of Columbus, Mayor Andy Ginther, and Nationwide Retirement Solutions President, Eric Stevenson.
Thank you, Mr. President.
This is cozy.
This is. Good morning, everybody. Great to have you here in Columbus and welcome you to America's Opportunity City, and a great chance for Eric and I to talk a little bit about our work together. We like to talk about public-private partnerships here in Columbus and coined it the Columbus Way, and actually the Harvard Business School has studied it and written about it. We think we do public-private partnerships better here than anywhere in America, and so thrilled to have Eric here to talk a little bit about it. One of the keys to success for us has been the public-private partnership that we've maintained to help drive our growth. Eric, you're here from just right across the street. We were just over at Nationwide yesterday talking with you and your colleagues. Nationwide's a real cornerstone of this community. Can you share a bit of your perspective on how our partnership has really helped to build a growing community?
Well, absolutely. And first, thank you. And thanks to all of you for having Nationwide and for having me here this morning. It's really excited. I'm excited to be able to share with you a little bit about why I love this city, love Columbus. I've been here a little over 20 years, and last night Mayor Ginther told me that after 3 years, I can't say that anymore. This is home, so I got to act like this is where I was born, but that's how it feels, certainly. But the Columbus partnership is really amazing, that the collaboration that we have here in this city between public and private. And while certainly Nationwide isn't the only part of that collaboration, we're certainly a catalyst, one of the catalysts. And I would say our secret sauce has been around Nationwide Realty and the investments that they've made in and around the city to make sure it's vibrant and growing, whether that's the arenas. Some of you may have already seen it. If you haven't, you will. The hockey arena, the baseball arena, and our new soccer arena, the arts, hotels, all of that is part of what makes Columbus great and part of our secret sauce, why we're so excited. Nationwide will have been around in existence in 2026, 100 years.
Wow.
And what I love about that is the partnership that we've had with the city, and certainly accelerating now with you as mayor, Andy. So just really excited about that. But even more importantly than how long we've been here and what we do, certainly we're a Fortune 80 firm. But what we're really proud of is how we give back to every community, including Columbus, or where we live and work. And we have 4 pillars of what we do in terms of giving back. And one of those is around food insecurity, around feeding America. Many people don't know this, but we all think about the big financial crisis in 2008, 2009. Well, there are more people today who are food insecure than there was during that food crisis. Wow. So this is more important than ever. The second pillar that we have is around everything crisis. Anytime there's a flood or a fire, the Red Cross shows up. That's another one of our major investments or pillars in terms of giving back. The third area that we pay a lot of attention to, of course, is Nationwide Children's Hospital, our namesake. And I think you're going to talk about that later, but we serve kids from every state in the country and 54 countries around the world. And then the fourth pillar of our giving back is around economic empowerment for all, and that's the United Way. So we're proud to partner with you, Mayor, and partner with the city to keep moving forward and serving all of our citizens.
I'm so glad you mentioned Nationwide Children's Hospital. It's one area of development that I'm particularly proud of. Not only am I the mayor, but the father of a 12-year-old, and we had many stints over at Nationwide Children's Hospital for a rambunctious little girl, an athlete, and what a blessing it is to have the largest children's hospital in America right here in Columbus, and one of the top children's hospitals in the country. It's one of the top centers of pediatric research, so much other work that is going on to help make children healthier, stronger, and our families, and also some amazing investments that have been made by Nationwide Children's Hospital into housing and into the neighborhood around Nationwide Children's Hospital. Talk a little bit about your commitment to NCH.
Yeah, no doubt. In fact, as many of you know, the Memorial Golf Tournament is going on this weekend, and the major benefactor from the day one of the Memorial has been the Children's Hospital. We're a big part of that. The city's a big part of that. So one of the other pieces that I love about the hospital is one of the areas of focus that we have is we invest in diseases that aren't commercially viable. So it may not affect enough people to make money on, but that's not what the hospital is about. It's about how do we help any kid who shows up at our doors. So there's no limit to what we're willing to do to support the hospital. One of the other parts that's really happened, Mayor, is around mental health and the investment that the hospital's made around behavioral health. And I know that's one of the pieces that we were going to talk a little bit about, and I can jump into that around what we're seeing. So one of the epidemics or challenges across all cities has been the challenge around opioids. And in 2018, the city reached out to Nationwide and to collaborate on how do we address the opioid issue. And one of the steps that we took is we developed collaboratively the Denial Ohio campaign. And first, many of us I thought that was actually a place in Ohio, but it's Denial Ohio. And the whole campaign was around getting folks to get rid of unneeded prescription drugs. And a year after that campaign ran, we were able to reduce the amount of unnecessary drugs by 100,000 pounds were disposed of, and the decrease was a 20% decrease in unneeded prescription drugs in Americans' homes. So really a big piece there. And then we thought we had a break, and then we jumped right into the pandemic, right? Yeah. And then the pandemic came, and then collaboratively, and every city saw this, but we saw it in Columbus. We saw the huge spike in mental illness and just the stigma around that and drug abuse. And so again, the city reached out and the state reached out, and we partnered again. Yeah. And we developed a couple of campaigns, which we're going to share with you. But the whole idea was to beat the stigma around mental health and drug abuse And the stigma that both the abuser has or the patient would have in terms of raising my hand and saying I need help, but also for those of us that are around them, hey, it's a disease, they need help, and how do we help them? And that partnership, so Nationwide did a ton of research in developing this campaign and actually invested the dollars to develop this campaign. So I'm gonna ask the folks behind us to cue up the video, and let's take a look and tell me what you think.
Research shows that this is responsible for 50% of your risk for alcohol addiction. Cameron.
Making bad choices.
That's not it, Cameron.
Lack of self-control.
We're looking at the same words, right?
Hanging out with the wrong people, Jeff.
We're gonna end it there. All your answers were stigmas, so you did not beat the stigma.
Ohio, challenge what you know about addiction.
Excellent. And then, so that was around the drug abuse. And the second one that we worked on was around the issues of mental health. And same thing, how do we beat the stigma? How do we remove some of the stigma, the things that people say that really are more hurtful than helpful? So let's take a look at this one.
Welcome back to Beat the Stigma. Contestants, someone tells you they've been living with anxiety or depression. You say, Ben, just snap out of it. What? Maddie?
You have no reason to be depressed.
That's actually harmful.
I'll push through it.
No.
Everyone gets sad sometimes.
No.
Come on, you don't have it that bad.
No. But let's see what you can say. I'm here for you. You're not alone. Talking to someone could help.
That was close.
Not even remotely. You did not beat the stigma.
Hopefully you enjoyed that. But we've all said those things or heard people say those things, and they're not helpful. So thank you for the partnership there.
Yeah, I mean, I know that mental health and addiction is such a major issue and theme that Vice President Sheevy has really been pushing for the conference and many of the mayors. I mean, the isolation, the depression, the disconnection that existed pre-pandemic and has really kind of just continued to grow coming out of the pandemic. This partnership. Nobody knows more about marketing than Nationwide, right? I mean, we all can sing the Nationwide is on our side theme song, but so putting that expertise and research to work to help us battle these challenges is so very important. So thanks for your commitment to that work.
We're excited to partner.
We know that our time's coming to an end here, but I want to ask one final question, if I could, on the great working model between the community and Nationwide. Tell us more about what we can expect out of our extension of partnership. We talked about nearly 40 years, almost as old as our president, as President Suarez said. Between Nationwide and USCM, what the mayors can do to help in their communities, help their employees prepare for retirement and partner with Nationwide to position their great public servants for secure retirements.
That's perfect. And first I want to thank the CEO of the conference, Tom Cochran, for that work to extend that contract for another 5 years to partner with the U.S. Conference of Mayors to do what we do together. And it really connects to what we just talked about around some of the mental health issues. One of the big factors around mental health is financial stress. That's a key contributor, and our first speaker talked about that. And the work that we do together, so Nationwide, we've been partnering, as we talked about with the Conference of Mayors. We've helped your employees that work for the cities all over this country save some $27 billion. We serve 530,000 participants. But the most important thing that we can continue to do, or we can work together to do as a partnership, is there's a couple things. One, we have to get people saving early. The difference between starting when you're 22 and 32 is immeasurable. The amount that you have to save if you wait till your 30s, which most people do, it puts a lot of pressure on them to start saving. So one, work with a partner like Nationwide that'll get them started early. The second thing that's important is the fees. So starting early and how much you pay for fees are the two main contributing factors. And I can tell you there are 30 to 40% of you out here today that have 2 or 3 record keepers in your city. And what that means to you is that you're paying higher fees because you haven't consolidated. So my challenge is go back, ask your team, hey, how do we get to 1 record keeper? And if that's Nationwide, great. If it's not Nationwide, not so great. But no, but if it's, but work on that, and you'll lower your fees. We'll get more people engaged, and your program will be better. And whether it's, think about all the cities that are here that are part of ours. Certainly Columbus, but Chicago, Miami, Seattle, just kind of the list, Kansas City. I mean, all the major cities, and whether it's 100,000 citizens or one, we're proud to work with you and proud to partner. And we want to bring the sort of collaboration that we can, to the degree that we can, to your cities that we enjoy with Mayor Andy Ginther. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for your partnership, and to all of you here today, we are so excited to have you here in Columbus. We'll be in the Arena District, which Nationwide Realty Investments has been driving in partnership with the city at Kemba Live, I think tomorrow evening, and many other places around the city. We look forward to an amazing weekend and sharing more with you about the Columbus Way and how this partnership has helped us continue to flourish. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ginther and Eric. We're now going to shift to our next topic, a topic that's near and dear to all of our hearts: internet access for all. At a time when internet access has become necessary to fully participate in many aspects of life, from education to employment to healthcare, civic engagement, and more, we as mayors must reach towards a future where access to the internet is truly universal and democratized, and its benefits are within reach for all. We're proud to be joined by the chairwoman of the Federal Communications Commission, very powerful entity, by the way, who has worked tirelessly to pave the way for a more inclusive society, where every person has the opportunity to harness the full potential of the internet. She's been a champion for initiatives increasing broadband access across the country, and is here today to speak with us about the FCC's Affordable Connectivity Program and how you can ensure that your city residents are gaining the most from it. Please help me in welcoming Chairwoman Jessica Rosen-Warso.
Thank you, Mayor Suarez, and good morning, mayors. Good morning, Columbus. Now, my staff tells me you can't go wrong here if you talk about the Buckeyes, but for me, Columbus is not just about football. It's the birthplace of Jenny's ice cream. And look, I know it's breakfast time, but I believe life is short. You should eat dessert first. So if you have time, North Market is only 5 minutes away from here, and it's the birthplace of Jenny's ice cream. You should take a trip there. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. But I know you didn't come here this morning for my ice cream recommendations, and I came here for more than that too. I came because it is always a treat to be with America's mayors. In fact, I'm kind of making it a habit of joining you for these events, because back in January, I joined a meeting of your Technology and Innovation Task Force in Washington. And since then, a whole bunch of you have invited me to your cities. In March, Mayor Karen Bass welcomed me to Los Angeles. In April, I met with Mayor Michelle Wu in Boston. And in May, I was with Mayor Kate Gallego in Phoenix. So there's two things to know about these visits, or two things that stand out to me. Number one, there are a whole lot of women in charge of local affairs. Look, I noticed this because I'm the first woman to run the Federal Communications Commission in our nation's history. And it only took 87 years, so don't worry, I'm gonna make up for lost time. Number two, I know from each of these visits that mayors care deeply about closing the digital divide. And you're right, because no matter who you are or where you live in the United States, you need access to broadband to have a fair shot at 21st century success. And nothing has driven this home like the pandemic, because as so much of our lives moved online, High-speed internet was no longer just nice to have, it was need to have for everyone, everywhere. Because the pandemic revealed that too many people in this country, in big cities and small towns, struggled to keep connected. We all saw it. We saw those students lingering in the school parking lot with a laptop on their knees, just trying to get the signal to go to online class. We saw people sitting outside of fast food restaurants to use the free Wi-Fi to catch up with friends, to stay in touch with work. And many of us probably knew folks who had to say no to telemedicine appointments because they didn't have the bandwidth to keep up with their health care. So let me submit to you that I don't think it has to be this way in the United States of America. It's not audacious to say that we can fix this problem. So now the good news, the really good news. We have a bunch of new tools in Washington to make it happen. In the bipartisan infrastructure law, Congress created new programs to help, and the biggest of those programs is $42.5 billion, that's billion with a B, to help support the building of broadband infrastructure in the largely rural areas in this country that do not have it today. And my friends at the Department of Commerce are working on that right now. But what also matters is that for the first time ever, we are attacking the digital divide from another angle. We're recognizing that so many people in this country are struggling to keep connected because they can't afford to pay for this essential service. And look, I don't think anybody should have to choose between paying for gas and groceries and paying their internet bill. It's just too important for modern life. So at the FCC, we have done something big. We have built the largest broadband affordability effort in our nation's history. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and we like to call it the ACP for short. So here's how it works. If you're an eligible household, you get a discount of up to $30 a month off your broadband service. And if that household is on tribal lands, that number goes up to $75. In addition, you can also receive up to $100 off of a laptop or tablet computer. And you can find out more at getinternet.gov. Most major internet providers have a link on their website talking about the ACP. And even better, many of them have high-speed, low-cost packages that are right at that $30 price point, making this program free for low-income customers. All right, so more good news. We are making progress. This program just got started in 2022. Already we have 18 million households nationwide who've signed up for it and count on it to get online and stay online. But I think we can do more. There are millions of more households out there that are eligible for ACP. There are households in the communities that you're from that are eligible and need to learn about this program. So I hope you can help with that. And this is why I've been on the road, not just to Columbus, where we'll be headed to ice cream a little later, but to Los Angeles, Boston, Phoenix, and so many more places in between. Because what I've learned about getting out the word about the ACP is even though we're charming in Washington, when people hear about it from folks in their own backyard, those are trusted voices, and it makes a really big difference. And the most trusted of those voices, well, guess what? They're mayors. They're people who understand, block by block, household by household, how important it is to close the digital divide and create opportunity for all of their constituents. So I hope everyone's going to join me in this effort. Again, that website is getinternet.gov. The toll-free number is 877-384-2575. I feel like I should say operators are standing by because they are. But that's not the only ask I have of you this morning. Because we've come so far with this program, we cannot go back. We have to make sure that support for the ACP continues. We have to make sure that the funding that Congress provided does not run out. We need to make it permanent. So we're going to have Congress continue the good work that this program has done, and with your support, we're going to build on it. And one of the ways we do that is we start telling stories about this program, and nobody is going to know the stories of what the difference it made, like mayors who know what it means in their communities and their towns. So I want to tell you one of those stories right now. Last year, I went to San Antonio to talk about the ACP, and I visited with the Housing Authority. And when I was there, I met a mother named Belinda, whose daughter had been spending long hours in the local library just to do her homework. She was one of those kids who fall into what I call the homework gap, which is an especially cruel part of the digital divide. They have internet access at school, but not at home, so that nightly schoolwork is a challenge. And Belinda described how when she finally got signed up for ACP, her daughter could stay at home. She was safer. She worried a whole lot less about how she was going to do in school and how she was going to get by. And she told me this story through tears. That's how much this program matters. So I hope we can keep working together, keep connecting people, because if we do that, we can make sure that every family, every household, everyone in this country stays connected to high-speed broadband, stays connected to the opportunity it provides. And we can use the ACP program to make that happen, so let's do it. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much, Chairman Rosenworcel. I had a little wardrobe malfunction. One of my buttons popped off, so it's not quite as exciting as some of the other wardrobe malfunctions that we've seen in the past. But challenging our staff back there to see if they can put the button back on. We'll see. Stay tuned. There are exciting mayoral sandlot events to be planned this summer, and a big baseball and softball play ball weekend this month. Our next speaker came with a special friend. I'd like to welcome to the stage Major League Baseball Chief Baseball Development Officer Tony Regans and Lou Lucille from the Columbus Clippers. Let's hear about play ball fun for cities.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. On behalf of Major League Baseball, I'd like to thank President Suarez for his continued support, Tom Cochran, who has been awesome, Tom McClyman, who works behind the scenes, and my good friend and partner in this initiative, past mayor of Trenton, New Jersey, Doug Palmer, for their support over the last 8 years in this partnership with the U.S. Conference of Mayors with Major League Baseball. We're excited once again to kick off the summer next week, June 9th through the 11th, with Play Ball Weekend. Play Ball Weekend is designed to encourage young people to be healthy, to be active, to be safe, and most of all, have fun playing the game of baseball and softball. We are encouraging all 30 major league clubs, all 120 minor league clubs to activate next weekend and throughout the summer in this Play Ball initiative. The next several months we will be filled with exciting fun and activity. It'll start with my pal, the Seal from the Columbus Clippers, who has taken the Play Ball initiative by storm. We're excited to launch this effort again. Again, it's been a great year, a great 8-year partnership with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and we look forward to continuing this relationship and impacting the lives of young people all around the country. And if you are interested in becoming a Play Ball mayor, hundreds of you have already committed to being a Play Ball mayor. Please stop by our kiosk located right outside these doors. If you sign up, you'll receive an awesome Play Ball hat. I'm gonna put mine on, signifying your commitment to Play Ball. So thank you for your commitment, thank you for this partnership, and we look forward to many more of you joining our Play Ball initiative. Thank you.
Good morning again. I am deeply honored to introduce an Ohioan who has tirelessly served our great state in the Senate since 2006. He serves as chairman of the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, where he's been instrumental in establishing consumer protections, reforming Wall Street, ensuring housing affordability, and advocating for investment in America's families. And in the aftermath of the East Palestine rail accident, Senator Brown, in partnership with Ohio's other U.S. Senator, J.D. Vance, has been leading the way on a bipartisan package of rail safety reforms. Please give a warm USCM welcome to our Senator, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown.
Hey everybody, welcome to Columbus. Thank you. Wonderful to be here, wonderful to be among mayors. I have a job where people don't really know what we do. You have a job where people know what you do and follow you around and expect so much and really deliver, so thank you for that. Thanks to the hotel staff and the OTSI members backstage. I always call out local union members and workers, union or non-union, for the work they do who don't nearly get the attention they should. Welcome to Columbus, welcome to the state. There are, I believe, 16 Ohio mayors here, including my mayor from Cleveland, where Connie and I live. I know that sometimes all of us, mayors, senators, can get a little bit too full of ourselves, and I had a story I want to tell that happened a few weeks ago. I went to a new dentist in Cleveland, 3 miles from my home, and I walked in, and a woman sitting at the desk working for the dental practice, and she said, "What's your name?" And I've been in office for 16 years, all right? And this was 3 miles from my home. I said, she said, "What's your name?" I said, "Sherrod Brown." And she said, "Spell it." And I spelled S-H-E-R-O-D, last name Brown. And she said, "Where do you live?" I gave her my address. She said, "Where do you work?" And I said, "I work for the federal government." And she said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm your United States Senator." And for the first time, she looked up and she said, "Is that full time?" And so you know, that never happens to a mayor because they know where you live and how to find you and how to complain. But I tell that story partly because it's a story that's funny, but it's also teaches an unknown quality in the Senate, and that's humility. But I also tell that story because it's a reminder of the work we have to do, the reminder that most Americans are not involved in the political process. You know that. People like her, I mean, I don't know her story. I can put some things together perhaps, but people like her that are on their feet all day, they're working at McDonald's, they're working in this hotel, they feel ignored by government. They feel ignored probably in their city government. They certainly feel ignored by their federal government and their state government. It's a reminder to me about the work we have to do, that our jobs are to fight for them, find ways to include them, to talk to everyone. We don't do that well enough. That's why 40% of Americans, even in a presidential year, a much higher percent, and when most of you are on the ballot, don't vote. And that's, as mayors, for so many Americans, their first interaction with government, that makes your jobs that much more important. So thank you to Nan Whaley, my friend that was mayor of Dayton, who works with all of you, and thank you for the service all of you provide to large cities, medium-sized cities, small towns. I want to say a special thank you also for your advocacy on the Rail Safety Act. Mayor Genther, who presides as mayor over one of the great cities in America, one of the fastest growing city in the Midwest. I have 5 grandchildren in this city, so I spend a lot of time here because it's the state capital, it's the largest city in my state, and also I have 5 grandchildren here. But I want to say a thank you for what you did on the Rail Safety Act. Mayor Genther mentioned it. You understand better than most why this is so important. Railroads run through almost all of your cities, in almost every one of your towns. We've seen how derailments can devastate communities. In East Palestine, a town on the eastern edge of the state, just a couple of miles from the Pennsylvania border, so southwest Pennsylvania was affected too. Families worry about the value of their homes. These are not expensive homes, but these homes that were worth $120,000 are now worth $50,000 or $60,000. Local dairy farmers can't sell their milk. Local businesses are being hurt. Nobody really knows a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, these rashes that they have on their skin or that their children were exposed to, if those turn into much more serious illnesses a year or 2 or 5 years down the road. So while not every derailment is hazardous, most of you have had them either in your community or nearby. They still hurt local businesses. They halt business, they disrupt traffic. One mayor told me that these trains, the Norfolk Southern train that derailed was 149 cars. A derailment west of here in Springfield a few months later was 211 cars. And one mayor told me that these trains stop so often and don't move for hours that they had to build another fire station on the other side of the tracks because of the emergency situation. In just a few months, there have been 7 significant derailments in Ohio, East Palestine, which you know about, but also just north of here in Delaware County, 2 just west of here in Springfield, and Sandusky up near Lake Erie, Steubenville, Ravenna, all over our state. And yesterday we got the NTSB report on the Norfolk Southern derailment just over the border, another one in western PA in Lawrence County, Pennsylvania. This report illustrates if our safety bill that Senator Vance and I are working on had been law. It's passed out of committee. It's got bipartisan support. Every Democrat will support it on the floor. We need to get, 9, we hope more than that, Republicans to break the 60, to get 60 votes and to give us some momentum in the House. But these rail companies, this is the way they operate. It's a Wall Street business model. They laid off 1/3 of their workforce over the last few years. Their quarterly earnings look good. Their stock price goes up. They gave themselves $3 billion in stock buybacks. They were about to do a number greater than that in stock buybacks until right up until when this derailment happened. They obviously backed off this. But when something inevitably goes wrong is they compromise on safety, whether it's wheel bearings, whether it's track maintenance, whether it's their engineers are very well trained and well paid union members, but they face all of these problems of cutting back on safety. But when I think about what I've learned about rail, I didn't pay a lot of attention to rail. I'm sure you do more than most of us did in Washington. But when something goes wrong, they expect you to clean up the mess. And I think about the bridges and the rail infrastructure these companies own and fail to maintain and operate. My state has, I believe, the 3rd most rail miles of any state in the country. Texas and Illinois have more. Pennsylvania, almost as many as ours. And it's mostly 3 railroads east of the Mississippi. It's Norfolk Southern, it's CSX, and it's Canadian Rail. But these companies own thousands and thousands of miles of track, and they own the bridges on your city streets often these trains go over. And I'm starting to hear, because of my involvement in this rail issue, and because I've gone after the CEOs of CSX and Norfolk Southern for not doing their jobs, I'm hearing increasing numbers of reports that these bridges that go over, the train tracks and the bridges they go over, many of them are in disrepair. In Cleveland, for instance, I've been working with a local council person. Stones are breaking off, falling off. The rebar is rusting, and the cities are. There's this public safety issue here. So I've demanded of these 3 railroads that they let us know, every community in this state, the condition of these bridges. So I would urge you to do the same, to talk to your House and Senate member in whatever state, whatever cities you represent, whatever states you live in, to have them tell that they should be telling the railroads they expect the same as these bridges in disrepair, and how important it is that they fix, that they maintain them. President Biden's already said he'll sign our bill if we get it through both houses. Former President Trump endorsed the bill the other day. It should not be a partisan in any way. Senator Schumer says he's ready to move it to the floor, we hope next week. But I just ask you again, tell your stories if you've had problems, because I know mayors have told me everywhere that the railroads are pretty arrogant. They just ignore your complaints because you really don't have any recourse with them. Well, now you do, because there are a lot of us in Washington that are going to put the heat on them. Let me talk about a couple of other issues that we've had some bipartisan success on. Senator Scott I chair, as Andy said, I chair the Committee in Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. We do a number of things in that committee. It used to be known just as the Wall Street Committee. I became chair in February of 2021. Now it's known as the Housing Committee and the Public Transit Committee. One of the things I'm working with the ranking member on, Tim Scott, is all the above approach on fentanyl, especially sanctions going after the chemical manufacturers and ingredient manufacturers in China who send this stuff to Mexico, that the drug lords and the money launderers in these criminal enterprises in Mexico send it into the United States. You know how big a problem it is in every community in this country. More fentanyl deaths among young people than any other cause of death. But fentanyl, it's not just young people. It's people, in many cases, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that are dying from this increasingly potent chemical, or this increasingly potent substance that is put in all kinds of other delivery vehicles, if you will. So we think this bill, it's got 30 sponsors, will move through the Senate fairly quickly. I want to say something about infrastructure quickly. We're starting to see projects get off the ground, projects that put Americans to work at jobs that can't be shipped overseas. We face a challenge in scaling up the number of tradespeople, union tradespeople, pipe fitters and insulators and carpenters and electricians and operating engineers and laborers and painters. Who we need many more of them for this infrastructure bill. And one of the best selling points to workers is you don't need to go to college. You can join as an electrician, a union apprentice program as an electrician or a painter or a pipe fitter. You don't run up any college debt. The first year in the apprentice program, you'll make $18 to $20 an hour in most places around the state. You'll have benefits immediately, health care and retirement benefits. By your fourth or fifth year as an apprentice, you're making $70,000 or $80,000, again, without any college debt. And these are good middle-class union jobs. And the other piece of good news is these tradespeople mostly look like me. We're going to have a lot more. It's going to be a much greater opportunity for a whole lot of women in the trades and a whole lot of people of color. So whatever you can do in your communities to encourage more people to become union tradespeople. I wanted to mention last issue is the importance of public transit and what we're doing. And for many of you, it's a real lifeblood of your community. And most places, it's mostly buses. In my state, one city, Cleveland, because it's an older, bigger city, it had as many as 950,000 people a few decades ago. It's smaller than that now. But they have several dozen rail cars in addition to obviously a huge bus fleet in a city, in a metropolitan area as big as Cleveland, essentially 2.5 million people in the region. These cars, these rail cars, the newest rail car is 38 years old. And so I think about the workers. I spent a lot of time talking about the dignity of work. It came originally from Pope Leo XIII 120 years ago, and most popularized by Dr. King when he wove together civil rights and worker rights in most of his activism. And as I walked around this bus garage, we got a $130 million investment from the committee that I run through the Senate. To buy new rail cars. And I'm walking around talking to workers, all union workers in this bus garage, I believe. And these workers, think about this, they are so highly skilled, they kept these trains running for 40 years. And to one point, one worker pointed to me over in the corner and he said, "You see those people over there?" I said, "Yeah." He said, their work, we can't get parts when rail cars are so old. So their job is to machine parts in that little station over in the corner of the garage, actually making the parts so they can fix these train cars. So our government has simply failed in providing the dollars and the support for public transit. And now finally it's not. And that's something that in part because so many mayors came to me and talked to me about this and in transit systems, particularly in my state, but I hear from mayors other places too. So continue to talk to us about that. Continue to talk about the housing challenges you face. We're working on legislation. I think we have a good chance to pass it to stop these out-of-state investors from buying up housing, driving up prices, making it even more unaffordable for renters. And that's going to be so important if we're going to provide the housing, especially for moderate and low-income people who are mostly renters in our cities. My wife and I live in the city of Cleveland. 300 yards from where we live, we see this problem of out-of-state private equity, vulture investors coming in and buying these homes. So we're working on emergency housing vouchers in the home program. We're working to expand access to affordable mortgages for police and firefighters and teachers so they can buy their first home and live in the communities they serve every day. I know a lot of Cleveland police officers don't live in the city of Cleveland. I've talked to the mayor about that and how important that is. And I will say this in close, I've always gotten the best ideas from people in my state. I don't do these huge town halls where people stand up and yell at each other. I do kind of intimate 15, 20, 30 people sitting around a table and telling me their ideas. You really lead on that as mayors. The best ideas come from local activists, local leaders, local advocates, local mayors, the people on the ground who know their communities best. So keep calling on us. Tell us what your communities need. Tell us what you need and how we can help. Thank you so much.
Still no button. We'll see you in the afternoon. Thank you, Senator Brown, and thank you all for being with us this morning. There are a number of important meetings that follow as listed in your agendas and our app. So we stand adjourned this morning, and we hope to see you later today. Thank you.